Hello, my dear students. Welcome to science class. So we are continuing with chapter number 14, water. Okay, so let's see what we are going to learn today. Today we will be learning about what are the advantages and disadvantages of rainfall. Like in our previous classes, we have learned about the water cycle, how the rain occurs. Okay, and today in this class we will be learning about the advantages and disadvantages of rainfall. Then we will be learning about what happens if it does not rain for a long period, and then how can we conserve water at home. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, every place in a world it gets rain sometime or the other. Okay, now the time, duration, and amount of rainfall it varies from place to place. Like, for example, in some part of the world it rains throughout the year. Okay, and whereas in some other parts it rains only for a few days in a year. Okay, now we live in country India. Now in our country most of the rainfall occurs in the monsoon season, that is the rainy season, which comes just after the summer season. Okay, now rains, they are always welcome. Okay, now rainfall has got many advantages. What are the advantages of rainfall? Number one is rain, it brings relief by cooling the environment after a hot summer days. You yourself imagine, like during summer season, if the weather is too hot, okay, now instantly, like if it rains, okay, like whenever the cloud comes, we feel very happy that now it will rain and we will get relief from a hot summer day. Okay, so whenever there is a rain, it brings an instant relief, okay, by cooling the environment, okay, by reducing the temperature. Okay, next is what? Next is the sowing of many crops. Okay, it depends on the arrival of rain during monsoon. For example, the most important crop of our country, that is paddy. Okay, paddy plant, it requires a lot of water. Paddy plant, it grows in clay soil. And why does it grow well in clay soil? Because clay soil, it can hold too much of water. Okay, so uh, uh, paddy plant generally it is shown during what? During the arrival of monsoon season, as it will get waterlogged area. It will get enough water for its growth, and it is harvested just before the winter season. Not only that, jute. Okay, jute is a fiber that also requires lot of water. Okay, other than that also, like a moderate rainfall, it is required for what? For the growth of almost all other crops or even fibers. Okay, then, rain, it provides what? It provides water in the river and dams of hydroelectric power plant. Okay. Then, rain, it fills the river, lake, pond, which acts as a source of water. Okay, because rainwater, it is a purest form of water. It does not contain any salt. Okay, and they used to fill what? They used to fill the lakes, river, ponds. Okay. Other than that, rains, they are also responsible for the groundwater which gets stored under the surface of water. And with the help of this hand pump, this groundwater are being fetched out or taken out. Okay. Now, these are the advantages I have discussed. Now, when it rains heavily for a long time, then what happens? We get excess rainfall, resulting in too much of water all around. Okay. Now, the excessive rainfall due to heavy rains, it leads to many problems. Okay. Now, some of the problem caused by heavy rain, what are that? Number one, heavy rain in our city areas. What happened? It leads to waterlogged roads and street. Okay, and suppose like whenever you are going out, if it is waterlogged in the road and street, what happens? It disrupts the traffic on road and it causes so much of inconvenience to the people. Okay. Number two, the most important disadvantage is that heavy rain, it causes what? It causes flood. Now, how does the flood occur? Now, as like due to heavy rainfall, okay, what happens? There is too much of rise in the level of water in river. Okay. Now what happens when the level becomes too high? Then the river water, it starts overflowing from its banks and it spreads over a large area of land, causing flood. Okay, and this flood, what happens, sometimes it drowns or submerges the cities, villages, crops, fields and forest, and that causes damage to many property, human life, domestic animal, then crops, wild animals of forest. Okay, then what happens, the animals, those who are living in water, okay, they are carried away by what, by the fast flowing flood water. Okay, then what happens, then these water animals, they often get trapped on the land areas, and when the flood water recedes, what happens, they die. Okay, heavy rain, they also kills the animal living in the soil, because such animal, they do not get air to breathe in when all the soil gets covered with flood water. Okay, now the question comes, what happens if it does not rain for a long period? Okay. Now certainly there are many disadvantages of heavy rainfall. Okay. Now sometimes it also happens that it does not rain in a region for a year or more. Okay. Now what happens? This leads to shortage of water in that region, causing what? Causing dryness everywhere. Okay, and the environment of dryness is called drought. Okay, like this picture you can see the soil are so much of dry that over here you will find certain cracks due to the lack of what, lack of moisture or lack of water. Okay, a dry kind of thing is being shown over here. Okay, so this condition is called what, is called drought. Okay, so what we can say that if it does not rain in a region for a long time, then what happens, then it causes drought. Okay, now drought, it is a long period without rain, leads to what, leads to severe shortage of water in that region. How does it happen? Now the soil in the field, it is normally moist, as you all know that soil contains water. Now, this soil, it continues to lose water by the process of evaporation and transpiration, as I have discussed in my previous class. Okay. Now, the water lost by the soil, it is usually made up by the rains. Now, however, if it does not rain at all, okay, or if the rainfall is very low, okay, if the rainfall is very low for a long period, then what happens, then the loss of water from the soil, it is not made up, and hence the soil, it becomes what, it becomes dry. Okay, now due to the lack of rains, the water level in the lakes and ponds, what happens, it goes down and down, and some of them may even dry up completely. Okay, now in the absence of rain, no water seeps into the ground, and hence the level of groundwater in wells, it falls drastically. Now due to this, the groundwater also becomes very low. So in this way, the prolonged period of no rain, okay, it causes all around shortage of water and leads to drought. Okay, so the people, okay, the people living in the areas having drought condition, they face many difficulties in leading normal life. Okay, what are the difficulties? Number one, you can say, like in drought condition, as you all know that the soil, it does not have sufficient moisture to grow the crop well. Okay, now since the crop plant does not grow well, so drought, it leads to what? It leads to severe shortage of food, as because the crop, it does not grow properly due to the lack of water. Okay, so there is a scarcity of food. Okay, then what happens, the in during drought condition, the vegetation such as grass and other fodder, it does not grow well, and as a result, what happens, the domestic animal like cow and buffalo, those goats, okay, those who feeds on grass and fodder, okay, they also suffer from lack of food and they also die. Okay, so due to this shortage of food and fodder, many people living in a drought affected area, sometimes they migrate to other places along with their domestic animal in search of food and fodder. Okay, and some people, those who cannot travel, they die of food and starvation. Okay, so this is a very curse for our environment. Okay, now, water is very precious, isn't it? So, how can we conserve water? Okay. Now, Earth, our planet Earth, you know that three-fourth part of the Earth, it is covered with water. Okay. Now, the earth, it has tremendous amount of water. Okay, but most of the water on the earth is in ocean. 99% of water is in ocean. Okay, 1% is a fresh water. Now, ocean water, it is highly saline, and due to which it cannot be used directly for drinking, irrigation and other for industrial purposes. Okay. So as I said you that only a small fraction, that is 1% of water available on earth, it is fit for use by human beings, animals and plant. Okay. And this is available in river, lake, pond and groundwater. Okay. Now, since all the areas of the country are not near the river or beside the river, so river water it is not available at all the places in our country, right? The lakes and ponds, okay, cannot hold much water in them, and the groundwater is available everywhere. But when it is used too much for agriculture and other purposes, then what happens? The level of groundwater it decreases drastically, and hence it cannot be used anymore. Okay. Now, as the population is increasing rapidly, okay, so the number of people using the water is also increasing rapidly. So due to this, what happens? Due to this, the demand for water, it is increasing day by day. And also more and more water is being used in agriculture for producing food and by industry, which manufacture a large variety of products for our use. Okay, so all these factor, okay, leading to the shortage of water in many part of the world includes our country. Here you can see the map. Okay, here this light green part, it's a little or no water scarcity. Okay, this part, that is physical water scarcity, this parts. Okay, then this light sky blue, approaching physical water scarcity, this one. Okay, and here you see the dark blue area, economic water scarcity, and here you can see our country, a part of our country is also covered under this. Okay, that means our country, it is also facing a serious issue of what? Shortage of water. Okay. Now, in our country, in many cities, you can find this kind of scenario. Okay, that is a long queues of people carrying container for collecting water. Okay, so keeping in view the shortage of the usable water, it is very much essential to conserve the water carefully or to use the water carefully. Okay, we should take care not to waste the water. Okay, now, to conserve water, okay, to conserve water, what does it mean? It means to save water by using it carefully, wisely, and by preventing its wastage. Okay, so we can conserve water at our home by minimizing its wastage. So, what are the various ways? Okay, what are the various ways by which you can conserve water or minimize water wastage at home? Are turn off the tap immediately after use. Okay, like when suppose you are brushing the teeth. Now suppose you have taken the toothpaste and you are brushing the teeth. Sometimes what happens, like we just keep the tap on and we keep continuing our brushing. Okay, this should not be done. You should turn off the tap. Okay, you should brush and then you turn on the uh, tap and then you just rinse your mouth. Okay, then take bath by filling water in a bucket like this. Okay, instead of using shower, because when you are just opening the shower, lot of water is means getting wasted. Okay, so in a bucket a limited amount of water you can take. Once the bucket gets empty, you can fill another bucket. Okay, so using bucket is very useful for conservation of water. Okay, then use the water, okay, from washing rice, vegetables, or fruits. Like before cooking the rice, we always wash the rice, isn't it? So that water, after washing the rice, that water basically we throw, isn't it? After washing the vegetable, we throw away the water. So instead of throwing away the water, that water, it can be used for watering the plants at home. Okay, so that we can minimize the use of water. Okay. Then another thing is that wash the utensil by filling water in a basin and not under the running tap. Okay. So last but not the least, I'd like to say that every person should make their effort to conserve water by minimizing its wastage in various ways. Remember, water is precious. Every drop counts. Okay, so in our next class, we will be learning another method of water conservation. That is what? That is rainwater harvesting, which is a very means important project nowadays. Okay, so till then, all of you stay safe, take care, and thank you everyone.